And we're live. And we're live. Make sure you hit the like button as you come in. Welcome. Let's get this thing started. Wherever you're calling from, let me know in the chat. Wherever you're calling from, let me know in the chat so I can give you a shout out. All right, so we got Emin. Oh, hello, dear coach. Great love and respect from Turkey. Cool. Shout out to you, brother. I appreciate you for being here and love and respect to you too, man. Uh Francesca says, "Hey, coach. Hey." And Mara says, "It's been like 15 days and it's driving me crazy." You got to hang in there. Hey, let me know where you're all from. We got Maryland today, Victoria. Shout out to Victoria. Good to see you. Jay from Atlanta, Mara. Where are we from? Let's see. Yeah, you can ask a question. So whatever questions you have, just drop them in the chat, but also drop where you're from. Let me know where you're calling from. Imara is from Houston. Shout out to Houston and hit the like button on your way in. I appreciate it. North Carolina, Kansas City, Missouri, man, Florida. You guys are all over. Long Island. That's Joseph Toscano, I think. Shout out to you, brother. All right, wherever you're calling from, I appreciate y'all for being here. Welcome to another coaching live session. We're going to be answering your question. I usually give titles of some of the most popular questions that I get. So I'm going to answer that question in this live at some point, probably about halfway through. So stick around if you want to hear the answer to that question. Will your ex always come back if you do no contact? But outside of that, this is an opportunity for you to ask whatever question you might have about your situation and what you're going through. So make sure you go ahead and drop whatever question you have. All right. And I appreciate it. Shout out to everyone, wherever you're calling from in the world. It's an amazing pleasure to have you here. Okay. Oh, Jennifer asked a great question. How do I book a call and talk to you one on one? Let's do that. I'm going to put the call here and I'm going to pin it. Let's see here. Let's do it. Do it. All right, here we go. So I just posted in the chat and I'm going to pin it to the top. So if you really want to talk, okay, you can click that link and you can book whatever works for you and we can talk about your situation. Okay. If you cannot afford to book a call at this time, that's okay. Just put your question here, but understand that, when you ask a question with a couple of sentences, I don't have the full context, but I'm going to do my best to answer your question to the best of my ability based on what you've shared with me. Okay. So just post your question, whatever they are, and I'll do my best to answer them. Also, lastly, okay, if you want me to prioritize your question, send a super chat. I definitely appreciate those that support me. So you can see the donate button. You send a super chat, but you add your question to that. And so that'll move your question to the top. Otherwise, I'm going to just answer the question first come, first serve. Okay. We'll just kind of start from the top. I'm going to go work my way through all the questions and we'll get through everything. Again, before I jump into it, I appreciate you all for being here. All right. It's going to be a great chat and great conversation. I will answer the topic of the discussion about halfway through. So stick around. All right. Let's do it. So, first question is hmm, Jennifer says, "Hi, why am I crying my eyes out over a man that treats me like trash?" Unfortunately, it's almost part of human nature, and you have to work against that subconscious training. Is that we tend to be attracted to, or we tend to want what we can't have. A lot of us do. And so it's weird that someone pushes you away and it triggers the instinct for you to chase and for you to try to fix things and for you to be with them. You shouldn't be doing those things, by the way, but it does happen. So I totally understand that. Just be patient with yourself. If the breakup just happened, it's going to take some time for you to get over this person, right? However, things pan out. A lot of times they will come back, but it's going to take you some time to get to that point. Let's see. She unblocked me. This is from Lee Machine. She unblocked me, but didn't reach out. Why? Because she's probably baiting you. So if she unblocked you and you've been in no contact, that means she's likely noticed that you're behaving differently. You're no longer chasing, you're no longer the insecure person that she knows you to be. And she doesn't like that feeling. She wants you to do all the work. She wants you to chase after her. She wants to feel attractive. She enjoys that feeling of you being desperate for her. It's human nature, right? We all want to feel attractive. We all want to feel wanted. And so the easiest way to get your ex's attention is to stop talking to them. And so probably when she noticed you pull back, she's unblocked you to leave the door open for you to reach out to her, which you shouldn't do, by the way. All right. If she dumped you, let her come to you. Ricardo says, "How do I do no contact with a kid involved?" Okay. Um, it depends on the situation, right? So I've made a video about this on my channel already. So you probably haven't watched it, but you can check. There is a video currently on my channel because this is the most popular, one of the most popular questions. Okay. I'll answer it again, but I know someone else is going to come in and ask this question. But all right. So ultimately, I tell people, do not do no contact as punishment. You're not trying to punish your ex. You are respecting yourself. No contact is a stance of self respect. You're not chasing, you're not begging, you're not needy, you're not insecure. But if you have children together, there has to be some communication. There's got to be some communication. And so, if you have kids together, only talk about the things that have to do with your children. Some people call this limited contact, some people call it smart contact, whatever you want to call it. But this is not about you punishing your ex. So, you have to be mature. So, you're not going to ignore your ex when you have a child to raise together. You got to at least try to co parent. But the key is your ex needs to be feeling like you're not going out of your way to try to fix the relationship. Human beings were big on energy. People can feel your presence, they know where you're coming from. And so, if you're working on doing things for your kid and so on and so forth, but your ex can feel that energy, that distance, that separation, that you're not trying to work on the relationship, in essence, you're still doing no contact. All right. But there's got to be some communication. So don't use this as some game. You're like, oh, I'm in no contact. I'm not going to talk to them. If you have kids together, that just makes you look petty. All right. It makes you look angry, bitter, and it's very unattractive. Okay. Uh Emin with the super chat says, just wanted to say thank you, coach. Keep up the good work. You're changing lives. I appreciate it. It's what I love to do. Yeah, it's my purpose. And so but I do thank you all so much for the support and for even being here just asking questions. Because I know you're dealing with a lot. Okay. So thank you, Emin. I appreciate the super chat donation. All right. Where did we leave off? Okay, let's see here. All right. A bunch of these are shout outs. Wherever you're calling from, shout out to you. Houston, Florida, Long Island, Philippines, wherever you're at. Thank you for being here. Uh, Gav says, been 6 months, blocked everywhere. She's with someone else. Please, any advice? There's nothing for you to do. Okay. Unfortunately, you're in a case where your ex moved on to someone else quickly, which does happen, but you have to stay no contact. Now, what happens a lot of times, though, is that if your ex moved on quickly, and you got to be honest with yourself, right? If she moved on within a couple of weeks, then it's probably a rebound. But if she actually took a little bit of time away from dating and she's met someone and she's in love with them, then she's likely moving on. Okay, so you got to be honest with yourself. But either way, if you're blocked and they're dating someone else, there's nothing for you to do, truthfully. And as hurtful as that might be to hear, some cases your ex can come back down the line, but I do not expect you and I don't encourage you to sit and wait. Focus on your healing, trying to actually numb, well, not numb, but actually treat the pain that you're feeling. Okay, because that's normal for you to be hurting, but you cannot be waiting for someone who's in a relationship with another person. You're only going to hurt yourself. So I need you working on yourself. I need you working on moving on, and you can do this. It'll take some time, so be patient with yourself, but you can do this. Jack says 2 months no contact. I've been blocked, unblocked, blocked again a week ago, and unblocked again today. I'm really confused. Gave your opinion on the matter last week, but I need to hear it again. Well, it's the same thing. All of these activities and actions, that's a cry for attention. Maybe your ex is thinking that you're not noticing all these things they're doing, right? But it's a cry for attention. So no contact is likely having an effect on them. They're not liking it. Because I'll tell you what's consistent with exes that don't care about you. You don't hear from them. Right? Now, even though she hasn't reached out to you yet, she's blocking, unblocking, blocking, unblocking. She's trying to get your attention likely. I hope you're not reacting to it. I hope you're not calling her. You have to stay no contact. In the grand scheme of things, it's only been 2 months. And likely she only started this blocking, unblocking thing, you said, a week ago. So relax, be patient. Let her reach out to you. She's moving in the right direction. Be unreactive. You must react to your ex's tantrums with indifference. Do nothing. There's nothing for you to do, but understand that she's only doing those things because she's moving in the right direction. Otherwise, she wouldn't be unblocking and blocking and doing all that stuff. Uh cool. I can't even read that name. He says, your shorts have guided me, still on the process, but working it out. Cool, man. Awesome. Good. Sassy Classy says, I don't think they come back after no contact. Well, if that was the case, um, there wouldn't be so many people talking about no contact. Now I will say this: no contact is not just about getting your ex back. I say that a lot, but it is effective, and this is just a lot to do with human nature and human psychology. All right. Quickest way to get someone's attention is to remove yours, to remove yourself from the equation. Tends to attract people to you. Scarcity creates value, even with people that aren't romantic, right? If you've ever had a friend where you're always the one putting in the effort and the work and you're always calling and they never reach out to you, sometimes you just pull away. You stop contacting them and a couple weeks later they call you. It's very natural. If someone cares about you, they won't want to go too long without talking to you. So that perspective of, oh, I don't think they ever come back, that's just not the case. Now, does every ex come back? The answer to the question of the topic of the live, no, every ex doesn't always come back, but your best strategy, your best bet to reattract someone to you, especially after a breakup, is no contact by far and away. It's a reason why you type in no contact on YouTube, on Google, and you'll see the research. All right. This isn't something that one person came up with or two people. It's because it's very, very effective. But does every ex come back? No, because every breakup is different. People break up for a lot of different reasons. There's some people who break up because they've been mistreated, they've been abused, right? They've been cheated on. There's a lot of other people who break up because they're getting complacent. They're too comfortable. They're bored. They want to try something new. So there's a lot of different reasons for breakup, but by far, the most effective strategy to spark attraction is distance. By far. Okay. So there you go. Ison said, block my ex today was a hard decision, but I decided to remove her from my life and move on. Thanks for all your advice. Awesome, man. Good luck to you. I wish you well. The only caveat I would say, and that's fine, sometimes you got to do things for yourself to help you emotionally move on from the situation. All right. But I always say, if you're going to do things like that, make sure you stick to your decision. All right. Especially for the guys, the more unstable you are, the more you go back and forth on your decision, the less respect you'll have. So if you block her and then you end up unblocking her a week from now, you're just further eroding attraction because you're behaving very indecisive. So it's better to do nothing for as long as possible. But if you're sure that you're done and you truly want to walk away, it's totally fine to block and move on. If that's what you need to do to get through it, that's fine. Dion Chandler says from Oregon, 12 years together, 60 days and no contact, trying to hold on another 30 or so. What chances she's still in the relief stage? Well, if you're not hearing from her, she's still, likely in a good place about the breakup. Now, you'd have to tell me more details before I say, oh, she's definitely in the relief stage. But if you've been doing no contact correctly after 12 years together and you haven't heard a peep, then, she's probably still in the relief stage, if I had to guess. But I need more information, bro. Jack with a super chat says, I hear walking away creates attraction. I cried like a bee. At the breakup event, no contact since. Does that have the same effect as walking away? Well, crying doesn't help if that's your question. But walking away after being weak is fine. It happens. Okay. Crying didn't help your case, so it likely turned her off some for sure. But all you can do now is move forward as a strong, attractive, competent guy. And that's who you are. So walk away, to earn back that respect and credibility. I tell the guys all the time, you cannot spark love and attraction in a woman if there's no respect. All right. So the quickest way to start to build back that respect is you got to have some self respect. You got to have some boundaries. All right. You don't chase after being dumped. You don't chase after being mistreated. You've cried. So she knows exactly where you stand. She knows how you feel about her. So do not say a word. And great, she's unblocking and blocking you. That means she wants you to go back to chasing. That explains a lot because you were the guy that was just crying about her a couple weeks ago. So, yeah, she wants you to go back to chasing. She feels all she has to do is offer you this little breadcrumb of blocking and unblocking, and you're going to go chasing her. And from the sound of things, if it wasn't that you found this content, you probably would have done that. If it wasn't that you found the channel and you've been watching no contact, you probably would have gone back to chasing. Let her come to you. She's moving in the right direction. Guys, be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. Be sure to hit the like button. Appreciate it. Costs you nothing, but it does help the channel. Especially if you can't make a donation. I understand. Make sure you hit the like button. Appreciate it. All right, let's see here. Where do we go from here? All right, we got a super chat from Andrew. Andrew says, when I found out my ex left me for another dude, when I found out my ex left me for another dude, my ex texted me and said she didn't cheat. I was too pissed to respond. Well, I'm not sure exactly what the context is because the way you phrase that question is Weird. When you found out she left you for another dude, she's already left you. Then she texted you and said she didn't cheat. There's not really anything to say to that. There's really nothing to say to that. So even though you were angry and upset, I that's very understandable. Give her the space. She's with another guy. So let her figure out that relationship if it's gonna fail. So a lot of times it does. If she just monkey branch or she's in a rebound, let that kind of pan itself out. But there's nothing really to say to that. Her saying that she didn't cheat on you. I wouldn't say anything. Karen with the super chat. Did Karen have a question? Let me make sure. Uh okay, why is your ex is not calling you? Why ex is not calling you? Work on you. I have more peace and joy. Have more peace and joy life. Karen, I don't get the full context of the question, but I appreciate you for the super chat donation. Thank you. All right. Appreciate it. All right. We got a super chat. Okay. Let's see if he has a question. His name is funny. GK. GK. Hmm. Maybe that was just a donation. I don't see you anywhere. Hmm. GK. Okay, there's your question. Always put your super chat and your question together. Okay, don't separate them. Or now I gotta go looking for your question. Don't make it harder than it needs to. All right, especially if you're gonna make a donation. Put your donation with the question. All right. All right. Let's see. 2 weeks no contact. I broke up with her 2 times in 2 months. Regretted it both times. After arguing, not giving space, she stopped talking. 1 month begging, 100 texts. I was sad. No contact now. Do I still have hope? Okay. Well, you've been extremely needy, right? 100 text messages for someone who doesn't want to talk to you. That's extremely unattractive for anyone, man or woman, but especially for women. You got to give someone space. So you definitely made, one of those huge mistakes. But my bigger question to you is, why did you break up with her 2 times in 2 months? There's a reason for that. Right. And sometimes because now she doesn't want to get back with you, all of a sudden she's the best thing since sliced bread. But you got to be able to answer to yourself. And if you have some time, why did you want to, on your own free will, break up with her 2 times in 2 months? That's a lot. So my guess is maybe she's not even the one for you, but because she's rejecting you now, you're obsessed. All of a sudden you want to fix things. So either way, I wouldn't call or text her for any reason ever again. All right. You have been extremely needy. All right. So any more effort from you is just going to come off. It's going to send the wrong signal. At least let her start to move towards you. All right. The bar is super low. She can send you a hello. She can send you a hi. She can do a multitude of things. Okay. So just stop reaching out. Stop it. Stop it. Have you ruined your chances? Well, you're worse off than if you would have just went into no contact for sure. But I can't say you're down and out forever. Like I can't say that. I'm not God. I don't have a crystal ball. But that is definitely extremely unattractive for sure. Um, but give it some time. MS says broken up 9 months. Okay, that's a while. Been 7 months since our last fight. She never reached out again, blocked on phone and WhatsApp. Been in no contact for the last 75 days. Okay, 75 days is what? 60 days is 2 months. So less than 3 months. She doesn't want to reconcile. We fought a lot. So you're still chasing. You're still trying to force a relationship title and label and trying to reconcile when you're not even going on dates. You're out of sequence. So if she was talking to you at any point, if she, because you said 7 months since our last fight, but she never reached out again. But you said been in no contact for 75 days. So 75 days is less than 3 months. So basically, before 3 months ago, you were still texting her without her responding to you. Right. So you're chasing, you're not in no contact, you're not giving her space. And even when she was talking to you, your goal should have been to set dates, not to ask her to reconcile, not to gain commitment over a text or a phone call. You're wasting your time. You're totally out of sequence. If you're ever going to fix things with your ex, you have to follow a natural progression. The hurdle, you have to slowly raise the bar. And so, what's the smallest thing your ex can commit to? A date. All right. Maybe they initiate a text with you first. All right. So they've done that commitment. Great. The next commitment or the next goal is a date, just to get together. That's all you should be asking for, not fixing things. That's just a very huge ask to ask to someone that just dumped you. If you ever ask that, they're going to walk away. So you should be focused on getting together for a date. So you're totally out of sequence. And the fact that she hasn't initiated with you for 7 months, I think she's moving on, dude. All right. Stop asking. Don't reach out to her again. And if she ever reaches out to you, stop asking to reconcile. Set a date and take it one step at a time. Forget about commitment for right now. That's not the goal. Commitment is not on the table after no contact. That's not your first goal. Your first goal is to have a date and have fun together. Commitment will come later if things go well. All right, but sure, make sure you hit the like button. Okay, I'm gonna do this next super chat. I'm gonna do a few free questions. I appreciate the super chats. I need to do a couple free ones. Uh, the month prior to no contact, I tried contacting in cool ways, no drama, but she didn't want to speak to me entirely. Yeah, because you're supposed to be waiting for her to reach out to you. Let me look at MS, make sure I got. Right. You reached out in cool ways after someone dumped you. You're not in no contact. You're deceiving yourself. So however subtle you're being, your ex has receptors. They know where you're coming from. She knows you wants to fix things. So no matter how much you try to play it cool, the fact that you're contacting her already shows your cards. It tells her where you're at. You're chasing. This is why you wait for your ex to reach out to you, because if they're reaching out to you, it means they're in the right mindset. They want to talk to you. They were probably thinking about you before they picked up the phone. Think about it. You don't just randomly get a text. You cross their mind, they pick up the phone, they go find your name, they send the text message. So it tells you she's in the right state of mind. If you're not hearing from her, she doesn't want to talk to you. So that's your problem, dude. You're still chasing her. All right, super chat is from Amir Onzo. Been in no contact for 3 months, but broken up for 7 months. Should I still be on the car insurance with her? No. Should I still communicate with her son? No. She has not said happy birthday to my son. Her dad passed away. Okay. Well, if you were gonna reach out to her at any point, maybe when her dad passed away, that would have been a good time. But you don't need to, and people understand this intuitively. You can't maintain relationships with all the family members when you break up with someone. Even in divorces, typically you tend to see, friends pick sides and family, think people just kind of separate and go their separate ways. And so if you think that you can be in her son's life, you're probably forcing yourself on her and her son. And even if she was asking for it, I would still, kind of distance yourself if you guys aren't working on reconciling. Because at the end of the day, eventually, all things being equal, there's going to be another man that's going to come in the picture, and that guy's not going to be comfortable with you maintaining this relationship. All right. So you need to give space. So, like I said, to answer your question, you shouldn't be on her car insurance. You shouldn't be communicating with her son. right? And as you can see, she's not wishing your son a happy birthday. There's boundaries after breakups. You just got to accept them, all right? So there you go. All right, let's do a couple of free questions. I appreciate the super chats. Let's see here. Oh, we got. Hmm. Oh boy. Okay. Um. Interesting. Trying to find where I was at, and I'm almost there. Let's see. Okay. My ex caught me talking to other girls. She packed up and left. It's been 2 months of no contact. Bronx, New York. Well, if you were caught, you know, essentially cheating, I'm not sure how far you went, and you just said, "Oh, she left. I'm gonna go no contact." Well, that's not really how no contact works, right? So if you do something wrong enough, it's on you to go communicate with that person and say, "Well, I shouldn't have done this." Right? Because ultimately, you shouldn't have been talking to other girls. So you need to ask yourself, were you unhappy in the relationship? Do you actually want to be with her, or do you want to be with someone else? Right? Because you're doing those things for a reason. I always tell you guys one of my favorite Bible verses, even though I never remember the chapter. I think it's Matthew 5, but it says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so if you and your actions, right, they're always consistent. The things you say, your words and your deeds always align with how you're feeling. And so if you're talking to other women, it's probably because you're not happy. Right. So that's the deeper question you need to be asking yourself. Why were you doing those things? But if you do want to fix things and you want to be in a relationship, you don't get to just walk away after cheating. You got to make amends for your mistakes. But there you go. Uh, Florida boy says she said she wanted to work things out after no contact, but never showed me. We went on dates and hooked up, but I just felt she was just trying to steal back the power. Why? You're focused on the wrong thing. You're being too negative. If she's seeing you, she's agreeing to see you. Now, of course, there's some context missing, but what you're telling me, she's agreeing to see you. You guys are hooking up. You're having a good time. If you're always there and you're being negative and you're like, "Oh, why won't you commit to me?" Well, you're just killing the vibe. You're killing the mood and you're focused on the wrong things. Totally focused on the wrong things. I've been in no contact 3 months now. She's viewing my WhatsApp status, but no messaging. Cool. Well, she's moving in the right direction. That's good. All right. Austin Hillman says, been no contact for just over 2 months. Heard she feels guilty for ending things, but is with someone else. Should I reach out? Why would you reach out? She's not reaching out to you. You're hearing all these things supposedly, right? You don't know for a fact that she's all right, that she feels that way. You just heard it from someone and even if she does, right? Always take her action at face value. So, bottom line, she's with someone else. So she can't miss you that much. She doesn't want to be with you, at least right now. So, no, you shouldn't use this as an excuse to reach out to someone who's in a relationship with someone else that's desperate. Stay away. Okay. And I say that with love. I hope you guys know all this feedback that I'm sharing with you is from a place of love. I do want you to get the outcomes that you want, but you got to be strong. Even when you don't feel like it, even when it's difficult, you got to do the hard thing. Make sure you like the chat if you haven't already. It does help push this out to more people. Also, if you want me to prioritize your question, send a super chat and I will prioritize your question. But for now, we're just going down the line in order. And I'm behind. All right, let's see. Where are we at? Um, my 3 years long boyfriend just ghosted me. It's been 3 weeks now. I texted him on Easter a picture and he read it. Yeah, he doesn't care about you. If you're in a relationship with someone and they ghost you, that's clear communication. They do not care about you. Someone who cares about you, they wouldn't ghost you. They wouldn't take the risk of losing you. And you sent the picture, he read it and didn't respond. There's your answer. So you need to save the dignity you have left and never reach out to this man again. He doesn't appreciate you, and I'm sure you're not a terrible person. So, whatever reason, whether he's dating someone else, whatever the case may be, that's not your problem. He's not showing up for you. So I would walk away. Uh, do you believe that no contact helps with Do you believe no contact helps with seeing all the negatives in an ex by getting rid of the dopamine from the physical intimacy? Well, no, it doesn't necessarily work like that unless your ex was actually truthfully a bad person. Because in most cases, they're just human, right? That decided to end a relationship. So they're not evil. So actually what tends to happen when you lose someone is you actually remember the good things, at least initially, right? You're going to remember the positive. So that's why it's hurtful because you still want to fix things. You want to get back with them. Um, but removing the physical intimacy doesn't necessarily make you forget about them or just only think about the negatives. It doesn't work that way. All right. You need time and space. Time is more effective in helping you see things more clearly, right? Because, yes, a relationship typically is an addiction, right? When you have, physical intimacy with someone, um, there's a stronger bond and connection for sure, right? But it's the time, it's the space that helps you slowly start to see things from a more level headed perspective. It's not necessarily just no contact. Initially, it's still going to be tough, it's still going to be difficult. Been, all right. There's super chat from Raw and Authentic says, ex broke it off. I moved on. She came back, took her back, and then she was mad I had moved on and had sex with someone else. Okay. Then broke off again. No contact since, but her people contact or like my stories still. Yeah, I would just ignore all of that stuff from friends and family. There's nothing really to talk about. Also, it doesn't sound like she's a loyal person. All right. She comes back to you, and just as quickly, she's already sleeping with someone else. So it doesn't sound like she has a high level of integrity anyway. So while you're in no contact, my focus would be moving on like you did in the past. And if she comes back, you need to be asking yourself, do you really want to be dealing with someone like this? Right? At least from what you're sharing with me. And she doesn't sound very loyal. She's very quick to, jump to the next person. Kay with Super Chat says, my soon to be ex husband put in the divorce papers. I'm sorry for what you're going through. But he still calls me, comes over and still hangs out with me, but does not stop the divorce paper. What does this mean? Well, he probably wants to follow through with the divorce, at least right now. That's how he's feeling. And he might care about you because of the years you have together. You didn't share how long. So he probably cares about you, but emotionally and wanting to build intimacy, wanting to build a relationship, Doesn't sound like that's where he's at. If he's not even willing to come to the conversation table, go to therapy, go to counseling, assuming you've asked for these things, I hope you're just not standing idly by. If that's your husband or wife, you definitely want to try to communicate. You want to try to do counseling. You want to try to do all those things until they go through go through with the divorce. Don't help them out with it. But if that's what they want to do, ultimately you can't control what another person does. But at least put up some fight, right? But it seems to me like he's not in a place where he's wanting to work things out at all. Javad. So Javad probably had a question. And I'll say this again. If you're gonna send a super chat, write your question underneath the super chat. Because if I have to go searching for your question, okay. So I can't see a question from Javad. I'm gonna assume that was a donation, so I appreciate it. Okay. But for anyone else, if you're sending a super chat and you have a question, make sure you pair the two together. Okay. Don't make this more difficult for me because maybe Javad did send a question. I'm gonna guess he didn't, but I just can't find it. There's a lot of questions here. Okay. All right. Let's see. Um. hmm. Just Blazing says, so my ex is going on dates now, but literally less than 2 weeks ago, she called me to help with airing her tires. I'm completely moving on as I think she betrayed me. What can I do to move on better? Well, like I said, if she's calling you to put air in her tires and she's going on dates with other people, she doesn't even respect you. She's not attracted to you. She's just trying to use you. So that is the right decision. Unless she comes crawling back trying to work things out with you, I wouldn't waste a breath calling or texting her. All right. So how you should be moving on, give yourself some time, give yourself some grace. It's gonna take a while. I always recommend and I tell people to read the book Letting Go by David Hawkins. Okay. I don't know him personally. I just like the book. And I think understanding ultimately as human beings what causes us pain isn't the events that we go through. Think about all the people right now on this planet that have things 1,000 times worse than you do. No matter how bad you might think you have it, there's always someone who has it worse in another country, in a different state, with a medical issue, whatever the case may be. All right. But what causes us the most pain isn't what we go through, is how we feel about what we go through, the meanings that we attach to things that we go through. So if you tell yourself, my ex is my only person, I'll never find anyone better, I'll never be happy, we're going to be miserable. You're going to be in a lot of pain. And so I recommend you read that book. It's going to teach you how to let go, right? Not to be so attached to anyone, people, places, things. And slowly over time, you'll understand that love is freedom, love is allowing. You want to be with people, you want to make them happy, but people and your love for them is not an investment, right? You give your love to someone, you go to a relationship to share your love and presence with someone with no expectations. Now, if you're not being treated well, that's fine for you to walk away, right? But love is not an investment, it's a gift. Okay. All right. Yeah, super chat from GB. Broke up with her times in 2 months because she moved way faster than me, cling to me. Okay, talk kids, 2 months, stayed every night. Right. So she was chasing you. She was super obsessed with you. And obviously, you probably weren't ready for that at the time. So that's why you walked away. So there was a genuine distance between your affection and intimacy for each other. She wanted you at that time more than you wanted her. You dumped her, and now all of a sudden she says, "Well, I don't want you anymore." Now you're obsessed with her. There's a reason you didn't appreciate it when you had her in the first place. Now, I'm not saying that to be mean to you. I'm just saying you got to be honest with yourself and what you truly want. Because if she comes back again, she agrees to be with you. All of a sudden, she starts doing the same things. She's chasing you. She's telling you she loves you. You're going to break up again. I don't think you really want to be with her, bro. My ex messaged me on 3 platforms about car insurance, and friend requested me again. Will me ending the car insurance push her away? Well, again, you're focused on the wrong thing. It's not about pushing her away or drawing her closer. If you've been broken up for, I think you said 4 to 6 months, something like that, you shouldn't be sharing bills together. There's unnecessary communication. And if you're the one paying the bills, why? You're not together. She's not your responsibility anymore. So don't always be looking for what are you going to get out of this? Well, if I don't pay for this, is she going to be mad? It's not fair for you to pay for someone that dumped you. It's not your responsibility anymore. Don't be so afraid to stand up for yourself. Okay, so there you go. Um, Javad broken up in 5 months and no contact for more than 3 months. Okay, because of a situation. I see her every night for the last 20 days in a mosque, and she looks sad when she sees me. Is she feeling guilty? Maybe, maybe not. So, I don't know if this is the only mosque you guys have available, right? But let's just assume it is. You say you still have to see her at the mosque. Just don't be angry. Don't look upset. She may look sad, but if she's not asking to talk to you, there's nothing for you to do. Wait for her to approach you. She might approach you in the mosque or outside the mosque, or better yet, she has your number. She will contact you if she really wants to talk to you. Okay. So, but just because she's looking sad, that could mean anything. She might be sad about work. She might be sad about friends or family. There's a lot of different things. So you can't assume that that's about you. Everything ain't about you, bro. If she's not calling or texting you, assume it's not about you. All right, Ron Authentic says it was me that moved on and slept with someone else because we were done. Sure. And when she asked, I told the truth, and she still wanted to be together. Cool. So I was willing to work on it. Then she left, said I was a narcissist. Well, there's deeper things here, but at the end of the day, right? You said, yeah, when we broke up, I dealt with other people, and she was okay with it at the time. So that's not really the problem. There's probably other things, right, that are going on that we would need to go deeper into, but that's not the big issue because if it was, she wouldn't have gotten with you in the first place, right? And narcissists, I think people throw away that word too liberally. So you can't really take that at face value just because she's saying that with you to you. You know, it sucks, but it is what it is. But you being with someone else was not the problem. It just wasn't because you weren't together and she agreed to get back with you. But if we need to go into details, I would just say book a call because there's other deeper things as to why this breakup happened. You don't need all the answers at this point. You should not be reaching out to her if she's calling you a narcissist, calling you names. Let her come to you if she has a change of heart. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. Thank you. Dr. Griffith says ex left me after looking at rings and letting me know we will be married last week after family vacation in Colombia. He left. Now, no contact. He said, I love too hard. What may have happened? Again, this is one of those. I'm sure there's a lot of details and context missing, but at face value, he's probably an avoidant, right? And he's starting to feel things get too real and he's wanting distance. But if you guys are looking at rings and stuff, um, maybe he was battling with that. Maybe he wasn't at the place where he wanted to go all the way, but sounds like he's an avoidant. But there's too much context missing in there. So that's one of those ones. Again, I'll suggest If you want to talk, you want to go into details as opposed to him just being an avoidant, book a call and let's talk about it. Let's see. Antonio says, I gave her an iPhone for her birthday. I financed it. Should I pay it off or leave her with the payments? Doing no contact, broke up with me 3 days ago. Okay. This is what I say, right? When you go and you buy a gift for your ex and now they leave you and now you want to take it back, right? This is a tricky one because you still have payments on it, right? So it's technically you hadn't finished giving the gift yet. If it's like if the bills are tied to a phone bill, you can just pass the phone bill and put it in her name or something like that. But if it's not, if it's part of your phone bill, depends on how much it is. Yeah, that's a weird one, dude. My belief, if it's a gift, you give it, it's done. It's a gift. You don't ask for a gift back. Um, but it's a weird one because it seems like it's still tied to a bill. So if it's a gift, leave it alone. It's done. Walk away. If it's tied to your phone bill, just put the phone bill in her name. Tell her to take it over. Move it over to her. Right? You shouldn't have an ongoing payment tied to your ex. That's a weird one, dude. All right, let's get some other questions. All right. See, we're running out of time. I'm just gonna do a random selection. I'm just gonna go up down and do some random ones. Let's do some random ones. EB says my ex broke up with her rebound after 4 months and said it was because of her insecurities. That hold on, said it was because of her insecurities that I caused. I'm happy, but what do I do now? You don't do anything. She broke up with a rebound, right? When did you guys have the conversation where she's telling you about her insecurities? Let me just say this to you. Moving forward, do you ever hear from your ex for any reason? She calls you, she texts you, anything like that. She says words to you. It's your job to initiate the next get together. Ask her on a date. That's all you do. Right. So it sounds like you probably missed an opportunity if she called you to tell you about breaking up with this rebound and all that. So wait for the next time she contacts you and then set a date. That's all you got to do. Do nothing else. Wait for her to reach out, set a date. Wait for her to reach out, set a date. All right. Should I still check on her, being that she's still grieving the loss of her dad? She said, I was selfish. Why is she friend requesting me? Sounds to me like you've already addressed the dad issue and you're like, she's still grieving. So it sounds like this is something that's happened in the past. You've probably already talked about it. You've probably sent her condolences. Do nothing. Stop being desperate. Stop being needy because that's what it sounds like. You're still chasing her. That's not going to work for you. I guarantee it. Let's see. Anson says, in no contact for a month, I think she's in a rebound, but she snaps me every day and I open every 4 days and ghost it. Is it a breadcrumb? What should I do? Well, are you responding at all? Like, so she snaps you and you watch it 4 days later. Do you say words back to her or no? Ultimately, okay, like I just said to the last guy, if she's contacting you, set a get together. All right. But if she just sending you like so some people what I've heard from coaching a lot of people, because I don't use Snapchat. I don't know how it works. But some people maintain a snap streak. So you're texting back and forth these pictures with no words. That's just a waste of time. You shouldn't be doing that. But if she's sending words to you, hey, how you doing? Why are you taking 4 days to respond? Just set a date. Just say, hey, good to hear from you. What are you doing this weekend? Let's get together. That's all you have to do. If she's contacting you, she's thinking about you. So it depends on the words. But if she's just sending you random like selfies or screenshots with no words, there's really nothing to say. Thumbs up, like the pictures every now and again, but there's nothing to say. Um, but ask to get together. If she doesn't agree, then stop texting. Let's do another random one because we're running out of time. Uh, Bailey says, I'm worried I ruined it because before he told me how he feels, I'd hung out with one of my guy friends and he asked me about it a couple of times, but we aren't a couple, so can he hold it against me? Well, he shouldn't hold it against you. Hope you didn't lie about it because when you lie about stuff, that's when it seems like a big deal. So, what are you saying? You said, I'm worried I ruined it because before, yeah. Did you already, did he already ask you questions about what you did and you lied? Because other than that, hanging out with your guy friend, going out for a drink, ultimately, that's not a big deal. But Amira says, how do I contact her about ending the car insurance? Just send a text message. There's nothing else to say. Just say, hey, just a heads up, I'm gonna be, you know, taking the I don't know how you have the insurance. Maybe her car is in your name. However, right, just say, hey, I'm gonna be removing your car from my name. Give her a date, put it out in the future, maybe 30 days away, so she has time to figure out her situation. Just say, hey, just a heads up, I'm gonna just take you off the car insurance, make arrangements. It's going to be switched at, give her a date, give her some time, and then leave her alone. Okay, there you go. Uh, Angie G says, I told him he's not meeting my needs for 3 years now. I stopped talking to him. He is sending me text messages. What should you advise? Well, this is a question for you. Like, what do you want? What are you looking for? And if for 3 years he was never capable of giving it to you, what is making you think that he might have changed? Right? Because that's all this is about. Is there actual genuine change, or is he just wasting your time? You got to figure that out. Um, but people don't typically change inside of a couple days. Ken says, I'm on a social media break for 2 months now. Does this make my ex forget about me? No, it doesn't. Brian Viver says, saw my ex after 6 months. Date went good. We laughed. Awesome. Talked, ate, watched a movie, walked her dog. She seems distant. She's down to come over and me to go over. She ghosted me today all day. She just answered. So you're still, again, just because you have one successful date with your ex, be calm and let her continue to approach you. So if she ghosted you, that means you were initiating or you're talking too long. The phone is for setting dates. Stop trying to have conversations with your ex over the phone. You're not in that place. When you're back into a relationship, you can talk every so often over the phone. But your goal is to set dates and get together in person. And it sounds like this date went okay, but I don't hear anything about, oh, we were kissing, we're holding hands. Sounds like you were just doing things, but you likely didn't escalate at all. If you're not escalating, if you're not taking advantage of the situation in a positive way, right? Then you're not sparking attraction. The whole point of getting together is so you can bond and connect. So if there's no physical intimacy at all, it doesn't mean you have to sleep with each other. No hand holding, no hugs, no kissing. She probably saw you and wasn't turned on because you're not being confident. Bonita with the super chat says, hey coach, I got my heart broken for the second time within 3 months. The second time I went into no contact. He contacted me after 6 weeks of no contact. He wanted to meet. So we met yesterday. He said he wanted closure for himself. He boasted about something, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so if he's being petty, if he's being mean after seeing you, okay, you want to try your best to be as indifferent as possible. Okay. Obviously, this is going to hurt. This is going to pain you, but it sounds like this person doesn't care about your feelings. So, in the grand scheme of things, big picture, you're probably dodging a bullet, right? But if he's asking you out just to tell you he's moved on, he's asking you on a date just to tell you, oh, this is for closure. I don't want anything. Um, he's not the one. He's really not the one because that's an intentional way of trying to hurt someone. And just even a normal, healthy person wouldn't do that. Like, why would I want to break your heart like that? Right. So I'm really sorry for what you're going through. Um, but if I were you, definitely take the time, take the space. I understand you're heartbroken right now, but this guy is just not, he doesn't care about you. You wouldn't treat someone you care about that way, even just a friend. Um, let's see. Let's do another random one. She doesn't watch my stories on IG. What does that mean? Because it's weird. She's always been watching. What do I do? Well, you don't do anything, first of all. But how long have you been in no contact? Have you been in no contact for a week? Have you been in no contact for 10 months? All right. Context matters. So if you've been in no contact for 2 weeks and she hasn't watched your stories in a couple days, you're probably overreacting. Just relax. So it depends on the context, how long ago the breakup has been and so on. Hey coach, my ex has been contacting me but not setting up time to meet, as well as telling me she's been thinking. She's even asking if I've been with anyone. So why are you waiting for her to ask you out? That's your job. You're the dude. That's your job. She's calling you. She's telling you she's thinking about you, asking if you've been with anyone. What else you want her to do? You want her to just put herself on the plate and says, "Hey, come get me. I'm ready." All right. She's giving you all the signs you need for you to take action, for you to do something about it. That's your responsibility. These are the subtle differences when people say it's no contact different for men and women. It's very similar, but there's some subtle places where it's different. And this is one of those places when it comes to setting or asking out on the date. Okay. As the man, whether you were the dumper or the person that got dumped, if they're reaching out to you, even though you got dumped, but they're calling you, you need to set a date. Why? I'll explain to you why. Here's the reason. Because some people say, oh, you need something more substantial and they need to tell you they love you. Well, in your case, she's doing everything. She's asking you about if you're dating someone else, etc. But the reason why you must take action is because you need to figure out quickly where she stands. Because sometimes your ex will contact you just to waste your time, to talk about nothing, to boost her own ego, to make her feel good. And if you never ask her out, you'll end up spending an hour talking to someone who has no interest in you. Now you just wasted your time. You got your emotions riled up. You're hopeful and positive that you're going to fix things. And then, boom, she disappears again. As opposed to she texts you about anything. Oh, the sky is blue today. You say, hey, great to hear that. Thanks for letting me know. What are you doing this weekend? Let's get together. And you quickly figure out where she stands, if she has interest or she doesn't. If she says no to you, then you never bring it up ever again, ever. And now she has to ask you out. But at least you've taken some action and you've put yourself out there after she's reached out to you first. Okay. All right. We're going to do a couple more questions here. Lolly says, hey, coach, do you think there's a chance after 3 months? Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a chance. I broke up with him out of sensing that he wanted to, and also a rude comment that hurt. I miss him and still hope he apologizes. Hey, I understand that. I always say, it's always best if you're still with the person to at least try to communicate first. Now, there are cases where you can just sense and feel that someone's checked out of the relationship, they don't want to be with you. I understand that. But generally speaking, try to communicate first. Don't break up because you're trying to prove a point. Don't break up because you're trying to force a reaction. All right, for the dumpers. But there's sometimes you've been abused, you've been mistreated, you just feel they're not engaged in a relationship. That's okay, but once the words leave your mouth and you say, I'm done, you better mean it. You better mean it, because if you say you're done, but you're calling them every other week, they're not going to take you seriously and you're probably going to get used and abused. Okay. So don't, be very careful. But anyway, all right. So let's do it. Let's call it a night. That's where we're gonna end it. We're gonna do one more question and we're gonna call it a night. Thank you all for being here. Like I said, I got to as many questions as I could, but thank you all for being here. We're gonna do one more question, and that question is gonna be from J Joe. J Joe says, we've been dating for 2 years and he blocked me after an argument 2 months ago. I'm so hurt. Tips for moving forward after being blocked. Yeah, just keep working and focusing on yourself. I recommended earlier in the chat, you probably weren't here. Look into the book Letting Go by David Hawkins. It's a very good book. It's just a starting point, okay? And actually, after the live, you can watch this whole video and I talk a little bit about letting go and accepting things as they are. So I really hope that it's helpful for you. I think I broke it down a little bit more earlier in the call. But understand, it takes some time to move on. It's natural. It's like a death in the family. You can't just snap your fingers and move on. A lot of people say that. Doesn't work that way. Okay. But anyway, thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate you. Okay. If you want to talk to me one on one, quickest way, click that link at the top of the chat. Or if you're watching any of my videos, it's always the first link in the description. We could talk about your situation. Thank you all so much for being here. Maybe in the future we'll do a longer one of these, okay? But I like to be, because it's so late, we don't go too long. But thank you all for being here. Look forward to talking to you on a coaching call or in the next live. The next live is going to be on Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Central. Okay. Talk to you soon. Peace. Later.